need a few subs for Kids Church, so if you love kids and can pass a background check, we'll gladly have you. I wasn't looking at anyone like you don't. Anyway, it just got awkward in here. More awkward than it usually is. Anyway, we've been doing this series that we call Summer Road Trip. But as you can tell by the football jerseys that are showing up, the summer is over. You probably made your last trip down. And so we wrapped up the summer road trip last week. And so we're dropping back into Mark. And so if you're wondering, like, if you're the kind of person who likes to read ahead in the book, maybe you're the kind of person who likes to read the book before you watch the movie, like you can read ahead in Mark each week, and you pretty much know where we're going to go. But every once in a while, I'll throw you a curveball. So we're in Mark, and we're in chapter 7, and I know everybody remembers everything we've talked about in the book of Mark up till now, right? See, for those of you who don't know, there's a whole other section here. We used to call it the 10:10, but now people get here early to get those seats. So I don't know if we have to call that the 9:50, or maybe we'll just call you the annex. There's a whole other section over there. So if I'm oddly, it's not that my alignment's off. I'm just trying to include the folks in there. Anyway, interesting. Someone does a psychological study of why people sit in certain places. I'm sure there has been one. Does anyone sit in the same seat every week? Anyone intentionally sit in a different seat every week? No? People are just like, no, I just grabbed an empty seat. Anyway, something and so we're Mark chapter 7. It says, then Jesus left Galilee. Galilee's kind of where he's been doing all his ministry. And he went north to the region of Tyre. He didn't want anyone to know which house he was staying in, but he couldn't keep it a secret. So Jesus, he went to a place called Tyre. You know how he went to Tyre? He was tired. All week I've been waiting for that. The entire week I've been waiting for that too. Oh, sorry. Anyway, he went there because he was tired. Tyre is, most of us probably don't know a lot of biblical geography, right? Most of us don't know American geography. Being from Delaware, you travel and people are like, well, what state is Delaware in? I'm like, I don't know, but you're in a state of confusion. Because, I can't name all 50 states, but if you name a state, I can go yes or no. Anyway, but Tyre was this, it was sort of a bigger city. You can actually go there now. It's in modern day Lebanon. There's been a city there for thousands and thousands of years, and it was a good place. I mean, the only coins that were accepted at the temple were coins from Tyre because they were pure silver. But then Josephus, who's an historian we know a lot about things, he said they're notoriously our bitterest enemies. So it's like they had this weird relationship. They were considered prideful. And it was in Gentile territory. Now that's probably not a big deal to us, but in those days there were Jews, and then there were the rest of everybody else, the Gentiles. And Jesus came. He comes to the Jews, but he goes up into Gentile territory to sort of get a break from things, to hide out. He didn't even want people to know what house he's staying in. But they find him. It's kind of like, I was thinking of, this has been wedding season for me. I've done a lot of weddings, and, I had one Friday, and I had the rehearsal in, I thought the rehearsal was in Wilmington. Apparently it was in Newark, which is a whole other story. I went to the wrong restaurant. I'm like, the one on 202, right? And they're like, no, in Newark. I'm like, oh. I was hiding up there for the day because I was trying to finish up the wedding ceremony, and I went to a place where I kind of didn't know as many people. This really cool place up in New York. A friend of mine, their church actually owns this really cool place. There's like restaurants downstairs. They were letting me use a conference room. I was getting a bunch of work done. But you hide from people so you get something done. It's hard when you live in a smaller town like this. If I go to a coffee shop, sometimes I end up in long conversations, which I enjoy, which is why I like to go out and find coffee shops. But we're trying to get work done, trying to rest. Jesus is kind of going off there. So he's kind of going off grid for a little bit. And Tyre, and we'll see Sidon later too. There's kind of like two kind of twin cities that were about 22 miles. They're about 22 miles apart, I think. But it's it would be people from all that region had still come to see Jesus. When we look at the Gospels and see, so people still kind of, although it wasn't where Jesus did all his stuff, those people knew about him, so they start seeking him out. Again, some of their history is, their history. If you know your Old Testament, your Hebrew Bible, if you heard of a lady called Jezebel, she's from Tyre. So there was. If you don't know the story of the Old Testament, there's the people of God, the Jewish people were supposed to worship God, but then sometimes the kings brought in other people, and then this king married a lady named Jezebel, which you don't meet a lot of Jezebels. It tends to be not a great biblical name. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's not even your name. Anyway, I hope there's no one named Jezebel here who hates me now. But so she had supported 450 prophets of Baal and 400 prophets of Asherah at a royal table. She kind of supported them, let them eat there. She ruthlessly persecuted the prophets of God. And so there's just a lot of bad blood between the two, but they also like them. It's like Camden and Wyoming. If you're not from here, Camden and Wyoming are not the same town. They kind of used to be, kind of aren't. We share the same fire department, but we have different police departments. You go down certain roads, it's like the left half is Camden and the right half is Wyoming, and few of us know the difference and where it is. But it's a complicated relationship. If there was our Facebook status on relationship, it would be complicated. And then there's all these ethnic and religious differences then, because they worship other gods generally. The Jewish people were separate, and your history is full of this, where there's times where even the church has struggled to go places because of religious differences, ethnic differences, and so anyway, so that's a little bit of where Jesus is. Jesus isn't scared to be there. He's hiding out, but he couldn't keep it a secret. People are finding him. So verse 25, right away a woman who had heard about him came and fell at his feet. Her little girl was possessed by an evil spirit, and she begged him to cast out the demon from her daughter, since she was a Gentile born in Syrian Phoenicia. So she's kind of got a couple of strikes against her. She is a Gentile. She's a pagan, and she's living in a city considered prideful. We often, we don't think much about it, maybe if somebody's of another faith or another ethnic group, that kind of thing. Hopefully, we're kind of in a different, but in those days, it's like the Jewish people, they didn't want to be unclean. They didn't even want to go in the house of a Gentile. It would be like they had Gentile cooties, which is the only thing I can think of. Because, you remember being younger, anyone? It's harder as I get older. But I remember, 5th grade, I specifically remember because I met this girl that named Denise in the 5th grade. She was a vision of beauty. I loved her the moment I saw her. Anyway, so we never wanted to sit next to each other because it was 5th grade, and she had girl booties. And our parents apparently were like the late people. They would have been in the 10-10 section. And so we could, I remember there was an ark of chairs in our kids' church, which is probably why we don't do an ark of chairs. And it was funny because we taught 5th grade Sunday school, and this happened there too. And it filled up like boys on one side, girls on the other, until like 2 people had to sit next to them. And Denise and I always had to sit next to each other in the middle, and it caused some problems for the teacher. And I remember, she was like, just wait, in 2 years, you'll be wanting to sit next to each other. Sure enough. And you get there early to sit next to each other. And the rest is history. 14 kids later. I was at a wedding and people were like, they're trying to do, how many kids you have? Like, 14. They never know whether you're serious or joking, which is just great fun with live people at a wedding while you get the pastor. But it's kind of when you're little, you don't want to oh, girls. And that's like Gentiles. We don't want anything to do with them. That will get unclean. We'll get their Gentile cooties. And so she comes because they're possessed by an evil spirit. Now, some of you may think your kids are possessed by demons. The cute little baby and suddenly they're projectile vomiting and there's like an outline view on the wall. I'm saying it's happened. But this is like, it's a little weird for us in America because sometimes we don't like to think about demon possession and everything. That'd be a whole other side sermon for another, next road trip maybe, someone write that one down. No, we've talked about that, but, so really, without going into detail about it, there's really no hope for a natural cure. She's possessed by a demon. She doesn't need a Tylenol. She doesn't need a fever reducer. She needs an exorcism. It's spinning around, I don't know. And she comes and she begs Jesus. This is a desperate mom. And if you're a parent, I think you immediately can relate to this, because if your kid is sick, there's like nothing, I think, worse than your kid being sick, because you can't do anything, right? Like you would gladly take the fever. You would gladly take, whatever's wrong away from them. And so she's desperate. She, is probably exhausted all hell. She hears Jesus is in town. Maybe she's heard the stories, and so she seeks him out, and she goes and finds him, and she's begging, and then there's this weird tension then, because this woman comes to the house, Jesus is hiding out, begs him to cast out the demon, but she's this Gentile, Syrian, Phoenician, and you're kind of wondering what's going to happen. Now we don't think much about it, but she's a woman. In history, sometimes women haven't been given the rightful place of honor that they are. This is, in that society, maybe not, doesn't give her first-class status. Jesus always treated women well. There's really some cool stuff about the way he treated women and other people. And she's from the wrong place. She's from the wrong people group. And so there's this moment where the lady she's coming, she really has, in many ways, no right to ask Jesus a favor. And so there's sort of this pregnant anticipation of what's going to happen next. And so it says, Jesus told her, first I should feed the children of my own family, the Jews. It's not right to take food from the children and throw it to the dogs. This is awkward Jesus moment. There are times where you read a scripture and you're like, oh man, I'm going to put that on a plaque. I'm putting that on Instagram. Carmen's actually teaching the kids church today. She does a lot of Instagram verses. And generally you do these nice, encouraging verses on Instagram, right? You put the nice, remember cross stitch? And some people probably still do that. I remember there was a big thing in the 90s. People would cross stitch scriptures and you put it up on the wall. This is not one of those you put there. Throw it to the dogs. This is not on your coffee cup at work. You dog. Jesus. He's like, what up, dog? Oh my God. I've got a bunch of verses sometimes that Jesus says something and it makes you go, huh? That's not really, often is the case when you dig into it, maybe it says something you're not thinking. Anyway, it's such a hard verse, people try to make it less harsh. And I was traveling, I had to go up to Wyoming to preach, and I was tired. And, some people turn on music in the car. I sometimes do that, but I tend to turn on sermons and different things. And I was listening to something this way, and people are trying to make up all kinds of things to get around this. Because, and it's, some of them have some reason, but it's one of the common ones is actually, this is from a guy who's a scholar that I really respected. They're like, well, the word here used is for dog is like little lap dog. And I picture Chihuahua when they say that. And somebody say like a puppy. And therefore it's like my little pet. Here's the thing. When I was at the wedding rehearsal dinner, when I finally found the right restaurant, there was this card, and it's like, they wanted you to fill it out. It said, never blank, and always blank. You're supposed to give advice to the new couple. Here's one for men. Never call your wife a dog. It doesn't go well. Even if you try to say it cute, you just call, and so even calling the woman a little dog Chihuahua, not good. We love pets in those days. Dogs actually, it's interesting, they sort of domesticate themselves. If the current theory is, we always wondered, we captured wolves and domesticated them. But now the common theory now is that dogs domesticate themselves because there's a food source nearby. So the ones that are more agreeable kind of end up being able to stay near us, they're not like household pets like we have. We'll spend thousands of dollars on a dog's knee surgery or something. I won't get into that. That's a whole other thing. But in those days, it's just they were kind of under the table. They were cleaning up the scraps, and so. Again, don't call your wife a dog. And as harsh as it seems, it makes sense, the story on its own. Yeah, I mean, because you don't make your meal for your kid. Picture this, you make a meal, and then you're like, oh, I'm just going to push it off, and the kids do that the whole time you're eating. That's why you have dogs, because I've told you about my dog, Chewy. I love that dog. And it was great when you had little kids, you have a dog, because, knock stuff over and the dog cleans it up. And, who needs to, clean your kitchen floor? It's when a dog licked. I remember Chewy was great for messy kids. And, it's funny though, one time Chewy, we couldn't figure out, he kept gaining weight. I was very strict with his diet, more than I am on my own. And so, I couldn't figure out, the vets was just gaining weight, and we kept trying to get him to lose weight. We can't figure it out. Can't figure it out. And then one day we came out, and Josh was standing at the refrigerator, and we had a big thing of cheese cubes, and he was just sitting there on the dog. We figured out, one, where all the cheese was going, and two, why my dog continued to balloon up. We stopped that because the cheese cubes weren't for Chewy, right? There were other things that are better for him. And so, it's kind of a story that in some ways makes sense, but seems harsh, right? Again, Jesus is calling the woman a dog. And she replies to this. He said, that's true, Lord. Then she stormed out. No. She said, that's true, Lord, but even the dogs on the table are allowed to eat the scraps from the children's plates. Good answer, he said. Now go home, for the demon has left your daughter. When she arrived home, she found a little girl lying quietly in bed. The demon was gone. Now the woman answers skillfully, right? That's a good answer. Now we, in our society, I think we would take it a little differently. We would go to Twitter and be ripping up Jesus, hashtag Jesus said what? What Jesus may seem harsh, but when I think about the passage, maybe it's not quite like we think it is. First, Jesus has this apparently indifferent attitude, but you kind of wonder, we have the words but not the tone. So, it's interesting. Sometimes you're texting someone and they'll get mad at you, and you're like, why are they mad at me? And it's because they don't understand the tone at which you're saying things, and you can totally misread it. So maybe we don't understand Jesus' tone here. Maybe he said it while smiling, Maybe it's just kind of encouraging to argue. But, the second is, the word he first used here in Jesus. She said, first. He doesn't really say no, but he says, hey, unto the Jews first. It'd be like if you called me and said, Jeff, when you call me, okay, first I got to do all these emails. It's not saying no, but I'm saying, hey, there's this priority. I got to, email wouldn't be a priority for me. Talking to other people, maybe. Maybe studying. But Jesus had this obligation to his chosen people, the Jews. And he was kind of making that point, and he spends his time primarily with the Jewish people, but he's still Lord of all. And it really, this image Jesus, it's interesting because it's sort of this image of bread. Now, remember what happens right before this? See, you've forgotten because we took too long a break. This whole feeding of the 5,000. How many people ate? 5,000 at least, right? And if you remember the story, there's 2 loaves, 5 loaves and 2 fish. I got to almost reverse it there. And Jesus miraculously feeds this huge crowd, and they have 12 basketfuls left over. So it's not like there's a lack of abundance when Jesus is around. Maybe she's heard this story. It's interesting because the story also, it doesn't make sense that there's unclean people to Jesus because, he just declared, foods, clean. Back in verse 19, if you read it, says, food doesn't go to your heart, but only passes through your stomach and then goes into the sewer. By saying this, he declared every kind of food is acceptable in God's eyes. And so, he's been declaring, hey, I think, you're misunderstanding what the purpose of this stuff is. I think the most interesting thing about the whole thing is what the woman's reply says about her heart. It's Jesus, he acts and interacts with people differently according to what they need. And for her, it's sort of this test because, precisely the reason she gets her request granted is what? Humility. She humbly answers. She has a clear grasp of who he is and why he came. And this demonstrates it. Proverbs 3:34 says, the Lord mocks the mockers, but is gracious to the humble. I don't think humility is often a virtue in our society. I think it was for a while, but I think Twitter's done away with that. Dwight Moody says, God sends no one away except those who are full of themselves. The guy named another person who I can't say the last name because it's difficult for me to pronounce. It says, it is the possession of a joyful and genuine humility that alone enables us to receive grace. There's a level of humility that we need to have if we're to accept who Jesus is, if we're to accept the grace that he has. One, we have to admit that we don't have it all together. Again, when we talk about being a little jacked up, and if you don't understand that we're all jacked up, you're really jacked up, because there has to be humility. There's some people who can't admit, hey, maybe I'm not all perfect. Maybe I don't have it all together. Don't. Mark 7:31 says, Jesus then left Tyre and Sidon before going back to the Sea of Galilee in the region of the 10 towns. So Jesus continues. Now, the 10 towns, some of you have different translations. It's going to say Decapolis. You know what Decapolis means? 10 towns. Now you know a little Greek. Back up. Hold. Decapolis. Anyway, and so, it's interesting that, again, it's been a little while. Does anybody remember what story happens in the region of the Decapolis, the 10 towns? It's really this kind of vague-ish region where there's 10 towns. Naked dude in a cemetery. The technical theological term is the Gerasene demoniac. But crazy naked dude in a cemetery that Jesus drives the demon out of, and then what does he say? Hey, go back, because the guy wants to follow Jesus. He says, no, you go back to your hometown and tell people. So that and so he goes there and he proclaims Jesus, and that's a whole other story. I don't know which week that was now. That's a whole other podcast. And so, he takes this, it's interesting, scholars make all kinds of crazy deductions, because you go from Tyre to Sidon, and then back to the Decapolis, and again, most of us are not following this along on a map. It would be like going from Harrington to Dover to Rehoboth. It's like you're not really going in a straight line to get there. And I think part of that is still Jesus is sort of just taking some time off, and he's hanging out with some Gentiles. And then, so it records, it says this in verse 32, a deaf man with a speech impediment was brought to him, and people begged Jesus to lay his hands on the man and heal him. And Jesus led him away from the crowd so they could be alone. And so this guy can't really talk or speak. And that's a tough way to live then. It's a tough way to live now. And so he leads him away from the crowd. And that's, again, I think because he's trying to stay on the down low. This is his rest. He's teaching his disciples. He's not trying to kind of gain all the limelight. And it says, and this is where it gets weird, guys. This is like awkward Jesus Sunday. And maybe you've read this enough times that it doesn't seem strange to you, but when you read this, and now you're wondering what's next, right? Here you go. He put his fingers into the man's ears, and then spitting on his own fingers, he touched the man's tongue. I know it's Jesus, but come on, some of you are germaphobes. If the guy's not blind, he sees him spit on his fingers. As soon as the guy went for my tongue, I think I'd be like, oh, Jesus. I was talking to a friend once at a restaurant, and they spit, and it landed right in the middle of my mouth. It was like, there's nowhere to go. I'm like running like, moment. I still cringe thinking about it. It's not that restaurant. So, and so, he puts his fingers in the man's ears, touches the man's tongue, and looking up the heavenly side, Ephatha, my Arabic not too good, which means be open. Instantly, man could hear perfectly. His tongue was freed, so he could speak plainly. Now, again, this is not a miracle. Why does Jesus heal this way? Because he wanted to. That's always good. Because Jesus wanted to, and Jesus does what Jesus wants to do. Because Jesus is Jesus. Hashtag Jesus equals Jesus. But as you think about this, he puts his fingers into his man's ears. Now, could the man hear? So Jesus couldn't tell him what he was going to do, right? I think this is like sign language. He's like, hey, ears. And then he spits on his own fingers. Now that seems weird to us again, because we're kind of germaphobes today, and ever since we realized there's bacteria and viruses, we're like, but in the ancient world, they thought saliva had healing properties. This would be like a normal. So if you go to the doctor and they stick a chunk of wood in your mouth, like the tongue depressor, like that would seem weird to them. Like, why'd that guy put a tree branch in his mouth? These are like kind of things they would expect in those days, and your tongue depressor, like the stethoscope, we would expect those, weird to them, normal to us. But it's symbolic of, hey, I'm going to loosen your tongue. I'm going to make it so you can sing. And then he looks up to heaven. Why does he look up to heaven? Symbolic of prayer. We usually pray with the head down. So in those days they mostly prayed up. Which if everyone's praying with your head down and you go up, they all think you're being sacrilegious. You're just being more biblical with God. So watch, we go to pray today, everyone do that. And so he looks up to heaven, and he sighs. It's this gesture of prayer. And I think, here's the thing. Jesus met the man in a way he could understand. He met the woman in a way she could understand. It didn't seem like it to us at first, did it? It seemed kind of harsh, like Jesus calling her names. But, Jesus knew what he was doing. He met her in a way that she understood. He meets this man in a way, he understood. Again, he's like a Gentile again, but he treats him differently than her. Because where he is, more like a Gentile. And Jesus, he meets the man in a way he can understand. Jesus met the woman in a way he can understand. And further really shows that Jesus came for all. He didn't just come for the Jews. And see, I think if we interpret that parable that way, like we kind of miss the first, we miss out on Jesus' purpose. Jesus' purpose is not just to stay in one group. Jesus' purpose is for all of us. And in verse 36, it says, Jesus told the crowd not to tell anyone, but the more he told them not to, the more they spread the news. It's like when you tell your kids to stop bickering and fighting, they just do more. They think it's amazing. They're completely amazed and said again and again, everything he does is wonderful. He makes the deaf to hear and gives speech to those who cannot speak. And that this fulfills Isaiah 35 when it says, and when he comes, he will open the eyes of the blind and unplug the ears of the deaf. The lame will leap like a deer, and those who cannot speak will sing for joy. And so this is all this fulfillment of the promise of Jesus to come. And here's the thing. The Gentiles, to the Jewish people today, were not the expected beneficiaries of all this. And what happens, and this happens to church people get weird like this too. You do. It's like the longer the church has the gospel message, we tend to, I joked with some friends of ours in college because they were, and I'm not making fun of the denomination, they jokingly call themselves a super frozen chosen. And sometimes it's like we can think, okay, I'm chosen, I'm God's people, and then not do anything because we think it's, it's wrong. But really, God reaches out beyond the church. And most of us, at some point, we're part of the church. God reaches out. God's desire is for, everybody to know him. 2 Corinthians 5 says it this way. Either way, Christ's love controls us. Since we believe that Christ died for all, we also believe that we have all died to our old life. He died for everyone, so those who receive new life will no longer live for themselves. Instead, they live for Christ who died and raised for them. Here's the thing. No matter how far people are from God, that's why Jesus came. No matter how far you are from God at times, Jesus came. And again, I think the early church struggled with this. I think church throughout history sometimes has struggled with this, that it's not just about the people here. God died for your neighbors. God died for your family. Jesus, God in flesh, wraps himself in flesh, comes down so that we can reach out. And it's not that and I think sometimes when we read the scriptures, we can kind of misunderstand things because we think, okay, well, Jesus just kind of came for the Jewish people. He didn't. He came for the Jewish people. He came for the Gentiles. He came for everybody. Jesus, he comes for us. Now, where I think sometimes the longer you know Christ, the longer you're in church, and church people get weird, do they? I mean, I was talking to somebody this weekend, and they were guests. They weren't from a church here, so it's not like I'm picking on a local church. They were from a church down south, and the church had painted the downstairs education wing where like the kids' church is, which I need help painting that if anybody wants to come in. No, not going to advertisement. But they painted over this old mural that had been done like 20 years ago, and then like a bunch of people wanted to leave the church because they painted over the mural. And the girl who was sitting with me at dinner, because she's married to, actually, Christina's brother, so Christina used to sit here. She moved. And so, she's like, I was one of the kids who painted that, and I thought we should paint over it. Because church kind of becomes about a bunch of other stuff. Now, there's a whole lot of stuff about what it means to be in the community, what it means to be believers, but ultimately, we reach out because God reaches out. We reach out because we follow a Jesus who reaches out. But we tend to make it about all kinds of other things. And there's people sometimes that we begin to think are sort of untouchable. But everybody's welcome. We're all made to reach out. I won't tell you the full story because it's embarrassing to me. But like last night, Denise and I were driving home because the wedding was like in Wyoming. Technically it was Newcastle, which is funny when I fill out the wedding license because they ask you city of, county of, and I'm like, city of Newcastle, county of Newcastle. I don't know why we're doing that. Anyway, so we're driving down last night. And we were talking about a particular situation, a particular person, and I was like, he said how she prays for them, and I was like, honestly, I don't. I should. But sometimes there's people, and in the context, one of the things we were talking about, people involved in like sex trafficking. I don't pray for the people sometimes who do it. I pray for justice. But really, if they knew Jesus, they'd stop. So I probably should. And we all develop somebody who we kind of think is untouchable, but there's no one untouchable. The woman there seemed untouchable, but Jesus heals her. I think maybe for some of us that might seem a little abstract. Maybe a better question would be, who do you struggle to forgive? Who's the person that you struggle to get? Because the person you picture is one of the very people that Jesus comes for. The person you picture is the very person that Jesus dies for. And I think this passage really reminds us that Jesus comes for your family. And some of you don't like your family. Jesus comes for your friends. Oh, you would like your friends. But Jesus comes for your enemies. He comes for your neighbors, your annoying co-workers, your boss and manager, even if they're a jerk. If they're not a jerk, you probably are. But Jesus comes for people who don't look like us and don't act like us. And often I think we lose sight of that. And God chooses the Jews ultimately to bring salvation, to bring Jesus to all people. But if you know the story, he calls this guy named Abraham in the book of Genesis, and he says, you're blessed and you'll be a blessing. It's never meant to be something just, for one people group. The gospel's for all. That's the beauty of it. It's never God's intention to do the rest of it. Now, here's the thing. I want to tell a story out of the book of Acts, and I think it's been a couple years since I talked this story. And if If you have a Bible, you can open it up to the book of Acts. It's kind of this cool story, but it's sort of a crazy story. But I think it illustrates this. Not crazy, like weird crazy, but a little crazy. And there's this guy named Cornelius, and I always picture Planet of the Apes. Like the old cheesy, like 60s, 70s version. I have that on DVD. You can borrow it because I never watch it, but I never watch any of it because it involves having to get up and get out of the caves and put they're streaming now. Anyway, there's this guy, there's this Roman army officer. I'm going to tell the story. I'm not going to go through verse by verse here. He's like a captain of the Italian regiment. He's a devout, God-fearing man. Everyone in his household is. They give generously to the poor, pray regularly to God. And one day, he has this vision. Angel shows up, and he's sort of terrified, because that's what happens when angels show up. We always think touched by an angel. People are always terrified in the Bible. I don't know what they look like. Haven't had an angel show up, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to be scared when I see one. And I'll probably kick them, because when I get scared, I kick things. Remember, don't jump out at me, because you'll get me, but you'll get kicked. As a kid. The angel replies, your prayers and gifts to the poor have been received by God as an offering. Now sends him into Joppa and summon a man named Simon Peter. He's staying with Simon the tanner who lives by this seashore. That's almost like a tongue twister to say. But, and so the story goes, he sends somebody, Peter's sitting there, and you may know the story. Peter is like, there's this sheet laying lower from heaven, all these animals on it that are unclean. And God's like, kill and eat. He's like, oh no, Lord. And it happens 3 times, because everything seems to happen 3 times to Peter. And he's kind of wondering what this means. The people show up, and they're like, hey, you gotta come with us. And so he goes with them, and there's Simon, they're like, and he ends up kind of telling them about the gospel and this amazing story. Holy Spirit comes on them in a visible, tangible way. But then the church finds out, and they're like, what do you mean? You're going to the Gentiles? Because we don't think of that as a big deal. We're not used to that. But there's a big vision. And then he tells them the story. They're like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. Hey, gospel's for everyone. Here's the thing. Peter doesn't get it. Peter was with Jesus. He's at Tyre. He's at Sidon. He's at the Decapolis. He sees all these people, and he still misses out. It's hard, because a lot of times with people, old prejudices die hard. Galatians 3:28, and this is one of my favorite Bible verses. It says, there is no longer Jew or Gentile, slave or free, male and female, for all are one in Christ Jesus. Jew and Gentile, that's a big division. That was Gentile couldn't stay away from you, don't go to the house. Slave or free, big difference. One has mastery over their life, the other doesn't. And it's complicated history in the Roman Empire. But male and female, big difference. In that world, big difference over property rights, ability to do things, but all are one in Jesus. Because everything that we use to divide doesn't matter in Jesus. The things that divide us and separate us don't in Jesus. And I think the other key to understanding this whole passage is this idea of humility. If you're going to be a follower of Jesus, there's humility. It's a key requirement for what it means to be a follower and a disciple of Jesus. And this is like our fall kickoff, and this is not a small group advertisement, but I guess it kind of is in the middle of this. And, we start forming groups, and we got Bible studies on Wednesday nights, we got Bible studies on Wednesday mornings, we got Bible studies all over the place, and we got men's study, and there was bacon, and there were burritos, and they were wonderful. And I think there's a leftover in the fridge that'll be my lunch. Now I told you all, you're going to be looking for it. No burrito for Jeff. But it's this, we talk a lot about what it is to follow and be a disciple of Jesus. It requires humility. Because when I'm studying the Bible, I have to be humble enough to go, maybe I'm wrong about things. You see, we talk a lot about forgiveness. I don't naturally want to forgive people. Right? Someone wrongs you, is the first thing you think, oh boy, let me forgive them? Good. I'm glad I'm not the only one. You know, it's usually not. But Christ can change your heart and your mind. There's this humility, and you know, and if you don't know Him personally, will you humble yourself enough to submit to Him? You know, and if you do know Him, will you really humble yourself to become a true disciple and follower of Jesus? The life of discipleship is one of humility, growing in grace and knowledge, and staying humble, and depending on the Holy Spirit to change us. As the worship team